Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody's having a lovely day. And with that being said, let's get into the TA. All right, so we are just going to start it off on these smaller time frames because why not? There are a bunch of bullish formations that we just got breakouts to. So we will start it off with that. All right, here on SPY, you do have this ascending triangle going on right there. You broke out to the upside. Over here on QQQ, you do have this ascending triangle. You broke up to the upside. You also actually had a falling wedge here that you did get a break and retest of right there. You could draw it like that. So there's two bullish formations going on. I think we likely continue up higher into the end of the day. That is what I'm getting at. I'm not saying we hold that, but we probably push up here to, 367.50-ish. Over here on QQQ, which was the neckline of your head and shoulders formation right here, that did hint to us that we are likely going to go a bit lower today. That is what we said yesterday. We closed out the day with that, and then over here on SPY, you actually had the same exact formation, which also hinted we are probably going to get a breakdown tomorrow, which is today, and we did end up seeing that. Now, what I am going to say, well, first of all, I'll show you the smaller time frames over here on DIA and IWM as well. All of these are bullish formations, so clearly the day traders have plenty to go off of here. Swing traders, you're still, getting chopped apart over here, but DIA, you got that going on, that little bull flag going on over there. Oh, what do you have on IWM? The same thing, right? So everything does look decently bullish. You have bullish structure going on the smaller time frames. Now, let's go over to the daily time frame on SPY, and I am going to show you guys. We have two gaps on the board right now. All right, you have 455.49 above, and then you have 442.97 below, like directly below. It's going to confuse the crap out of me if we do not come and fill this gap. Now, this is the zone. We have been looking for buyers to step in the correction to likely, that was a target for this correction for people to start entering longs again. But you're bouncing off of just 443.90, all right, which was the, it was over here, all right, it was the high of this candlestick right here. And you didn't fill this gap, guys. You got 40 cents within this gap fill, from this gap fill right here at 442.97. I would think it would be extremely odd not to go down and fill that gap. Not saying we don't have to. I just showed you that on the smaller time frames, you do have this bullish structure going on across the board, but it just would not make sense to me. So I am still looking for that gap to be filled. I'm just pointing that one out, but I am going to say right now, with what I am seeing, I have two scenarios. All right, those two scenarios are we go slightly lower, all right, somewhere over here. Maybe we come down and have a wick, all right, and then you get like your pretty big pop to come up here and fill this gap, or you still get a decent pop right here, but it's going to be a dead cat bounce before you go lower, and then you can have room to go significantly lower. It's up to you, Mr. Market. Which one are you going to do? I don't know. All right. Are we going to get chopped up, but I'm going to be wrong on both of these? I have no idea. All right. But I think it's very likely that one of these ends up playing out. Now, we're going to come over here to QQQ. All right. QQQ. Let me just delete all of the things from the smaller time frames over here. And you could see we started getting buyers pretty much right on this demand zone down here. Why are we calling this the demand zone? Right here, you have the bottom of the wick, you have the bottom of that wick, and obviously the bottom is marked by our level, the low of this candlestick at 363.41. That is the next spot that we are going to be watching if you broke down underneath this 367.57. That is what we were paying attention to. You did come almost exactly down to the zone. You didn't make it down to that last, the next support down there, but you did come down to the zone that's acting as support. You push it back up. You already did get one rejection today off the back test of the neckline off of this head and shoulders right here. All right, so you did get that like that. All right, so that told us we were likely going lower. You did end up going lower. You actually do have a bullish divergence going on over there. I missed that today. But I do want to bring you guys over to the futures. Okay, ES. Still don't make sense to me. All right. I'm not going to change my tune until I see this thing play out. And because we do these daily updates, you guys are going to hear about it every single day. I'm not going to talk about it a lot today, but I am going to point out, guys, every time you've seen these divergences form. And you know what? Screw it. Not even divergences. Screw the divergences. They're not even there. Let's just pretend, all right? Anytime you just see a bunch of consolidation down here, it doesn't last, all right? It doesn't last. Yes, these all had these divergences right here, and then you had these pops, all right? But again, screw the divergences. It just doesn't last. You get your decent move up after, and guys, we can go back into the bear market. It was the same exact thing. You did not stay down here and do what you're doing for this long and carve out this many divergences and then just not get your pops. It just, like, look at this. This was a quick one. You had a pop. All right. Over here, guess what? You had these decent pops. We're not getting these this time around, guys. We're like, there was a 4% move after you formed one over here. I've been watching these for the whole bear market. That is when we really started doing these updates here on this channel. And you know, I wasn't the best at charting back then in the bear market, but I'll tell you right now, this is definitely something. When I noticed these, when I started using these, that's, you know, this is where my charting really started, was these divergences on the RSI and the CCI. We don't use the CCI here on this channel anymore, or the stochastics. Just too many indicators. I don't want them. But this is the one I like. All right, and like, I'm just pointing out, going back into the bear market, you still didn't see the behavior we're seeing right now. All right, so I highly doubt you're going significantly lower without, you know, getting this. All right, maybe you get it like that, and then you go significantly lower, maybe down to this next support, or down to the 430 level, which would be, yeah, it would be right over here. Right, so that would be significantly lower. Or, all right, or you go a little lower here. All right, maybe you break this rising wedge we got going on here with a wick on the daily time frame, and then you know, come back up and test the high. I do think one of these scenarios is going to play out. I don't know which one is going to play out, but that is what I am going to put out there. Those are my two likely scenarios. We haven't done those here in a while, but that's that. I'm also going to point out QQQ has this ascending channel going on right here. What can you do? You could literally, so you could do it on your own. You hit control, you drag it. All right, and that is exactly how I got that. All right, but that, the bottom of it is about 1% lower. Well, from where we currently are, it's 1.5%. But from the low of this candlestick, it's about 1% down until we hit the bottom of that channel. I highly doubt we are going to break this thing, and then you probably would trigger a decent amount of sellers, or it would be one heck of a bear trap. But I think it's more likely to bring in a ton of sellers with the inflation ticking back up. We had CPI, you know, guys, that ticked up for the first time since May 2022. All right, so over a year there. You had PPI, that came in as a miss this morning. That hasn't happened in quite some time. So, you know, this is probably, like, not probably, this is why we got the reaction we did this morning. And then you also had the reaction you did yesterday. I can only guess this because, yeah, it was CPI was a beat, but it still ticked back up for the first time in a year. So, year and 2 months, I think. So, that is quite something over there. But over here on ES, guys, you do have this falling, or this rising wedge going on here. This big old one, and today's candlestick almost touched the bottom of it. So if you do come a little lower, guys, I think you're probably going to hold on to this, because if you do break, you're going to get a lot of sellers. And with the rest of what I'm seeing, it don't make sense. You're still in this falling wedge here, this mini baby falling wedge inside this massive rising wedge. So that's something to point out. But then we come over here to RTY, and I'm going to point out, just like on ES and SPY, you're back testing your breakout level right here. All right, that is exactly what's going on yesterday and today. I think we pointed that out yesterday. I'm just saying, guys, things ain't looking too bad. And if you think that this wasn't a decent sized correction here, let's just do some percentages. All right, so we'll just call that 3.5%. Well, what was the breakout to the upside? 3.5%. All right, so Bears and Bulls both had their way. And the Bears, I'm seeing a lot of people saying, like, oh, it's due for a bigger correction, bigger correction. Guys, the Bulls weren't satisfied with that, and the Bears aren't going to be satisfied with this. Neither side is going to be satisfied. I'm just putting it out there. You have had an equivalent correction to the run you just had up. I'm just pointing it out there. That is a large move down. All right, you got it. We discussed in the weekly video, all right, the weekly update, which we will have a weekly update coming out tomorrow, and we will be talking about the weekly and monthly setups. And that will be that. Let's just delete these two scenarios here. But I am going to point out, all right, we were saying it's likely that you have continuation from this candlestick. We had a lot of these bearish, big old bearish engulfing candlesticks in the weekly time frame when we looked at in the weekly update. All right. This is like picture perfect to me. You came down and you retested. That's all I'm seeing right now. That's probably going to be the thumbnail, guys. It's going to be a break and retest in big letters over there. And I'm going to show this picture right here. Or we're going to do it on the daily time frame. Probably the weekly, though. This thing looks pretty sexy. But yeah, you got an indecision candlestick right here. So the buyers and sellers are having a battle going on. Sellers just took control last week. Right here, buyers are starting to step up. So I am going to point that one out. And we're going to have to see how today's candlestick closes out. But, you know, if it does close out like this, get a gap down, sellers were in control in the morning, and then guess what? Buyers took control throughout the day. That is what that would be telling me. Come over here on, you know, DIA, guys, all right? If you think you're getting a massive correction, guys, it's going to be bought up. You know, I can't say with certainty, okay? But I can say it's very likely going to be bought up. IWM. Same thing. You filled this gap over here. You didn't quite come back to retest this breakout level, but you did on the futures market, and that is where a lot of the big boys play. Regardless, guys, I'm not changing my tune. Things are looking pretty smexy to me. Does this look bullish to you? All right. If we are going to go long VIX, would you want to do it with all of these upper wicks here? Or would you say it's more likely that this thing is now rounding off here and it's going to come back down? I think the latter is more likely. I think this thing is showing signs of reversal here, just like you had up here, and then you completely cooled off. I'm not saying, you know, we never really got this massive spike here, but, you know, the daily RSI here did tick up to the same spot it did over here, where we were calling for a top over here in VIX, and then we started doing so this day on VIX, and what happened? All right, you could not break this level. You couldn't do it, and now we're coming back down. So I do think it's very likely that one of those two scenarios plays out. One is we go slightly lower and then we tick back up. The other one is we go, you know, we have that decent pop, and then you have room to go significantly lower. But as of right now, guys, I don't think everything's just going to fall off a cliff. Now let's talk about some individual tickers to end off the week. NVIDIA. NVIDIA came down to this next support here. You did lose this support over here. You lost this, so we'll just remove that right there. Did end up breaking down through your zone there. So that was your, you know, this day you knew. We can just delete that right now. And I am going to point out, all right, bull flag also, you know, fell flat through over there. But yeah, now you're down at this next support. Do you see where that daily RSI is? That daily RSI is almost oversold, guys. The last time you got down here was all the way over here, like almost to the exact spot. Let's just mark it on the RSI. All right. And, you know, guys, screw indicators, but do you not see, you know, a pattern here? You see what went on? You had a big old sell going on over here, right? Did we have a 25% sell? I don't think so. You had a 15% sell. But you are getting the same, you know, selling pressure that led to this, that led the RSI to get down here. You got that up here, all right? People are panicking. And I'm going to reiterate what I said earlier. Bears, I don't think bears are happy. I'm seeing so many people on Twitter just, you know, call for like bigger corrections, and I'm just letting you guys know these people been calling for it the whole year. Here on this channel, guys, we just take things as we go. I like learned the very hard way. Calling for things way out in the future is such a losing game. It's never going to work. All right. Anybody could have called for SPX to be at, like, you know, or SPY over here, like, oh, either you're going to 430 or you're going on 400. Like, you know, when you were down over here, oh, we're either gonna, you know, come back here to 380 or we're gonna go to 430. Anyone could have said that, all right? But like making these directional calls saying that, you know, like it's destined to happen, it's such a losing game. It's ridiculous. So like anybody who is saying that, just know they very likely are falling into that camp of the people who are, you know, just they've been wrong the whole time. So It's why we do things how we do on this channel. We just literally just take it as we go. There's no reason to do anything else other than that. And yeah, all right, guys, that's pretty much it. But yeah, NVIDIA over there, I'm gonna point that out. All right, your daily RSI is getting down there, and then you get this 4-hour RSI. It's actually just all the way in oversold territory, and it's right here on the support. So we can see here is we can see a little pop here, and then you have this You'd have that. You would have your head and shoulders formation, and then you could use, I don't know. It'd definitely be a sloppy one. Regardless, guys, I'm looking for a bounce over here. I'm also going to come over here to AMD. This is one I got very tempted by yesterday, and I'm glad I didn't. But regardless, I mean, if you just make this your line here, you could just add up these wicks here. All right, these 2 wicks right there, guys. You have a bull flag going on over here. So I mean, not a bad thing. Let's actually look at how SMH is looking over here. SMH is actually sitting right on support. So that is wow, picture perfect. Nvidia's on support, AMD's on support, SMH, the ETF is on support. How's our boy MU looking? MU falling off a cliff. Yeah, you're actually also on support. All right. I was using that, but you do see you got all these, you got 3 touches right there. All right, guys. So honestly, I don't think AMD is looking too bad right now. I'm just going to put that out right now. All right. Next one I'm going to bring up, PFE. All right. PFE is it's something I either brought up earlier this week or it was last week. Guess what, guys? All right. Well, I called it out down here. I think it was on this day, and we were looking for it to run up to 36. It did. It ended up getting rejected by the trend line. Well, we are going to see towards the end of the day today, do we get our daily breakout? If so, swing trade activated. Just going to put that one out there. All right, now it's on your radar. If you do end up seeing the breakout, you very likely have a decent size run up. It's not decent size, but you're probably going to have a quick run up here to 37.50 up there, and then you do have potential at getting all the way up to 40. Just putting that one on your radar as well. The last one I'm going to bring up is Disney. I think Disney is looking quite sexy here, and I'm just going to point out, all right, I know I got a lot of things drawn right here. Let's just take it back a notch. All right, let's just delete all these things, and I'm just going to make some sense out of this, all right? You got this massive falling wedge here, right? That was on the weekly time frame. You got this massive falling wedge. Well, what did yesterday's daily candle do? It broke out. You get this little falling wedge. What did that do? Well, they put, like, in terms of Bulkowski here on the patentsite.com, one of your targets would be the high up here at 94. And that is the zone we have drawn right here. I do think that is imminent. I'm not going to say that's a guarantee, but I am going to say it's extremely likely that we do have a run up to that level. What I'm looking for today is I am looking for to hold this 89.36 level. That would be important to me. I would like a daily close above that level, and then we would rally going into next week. But yeah, 94, guys, I do think that is going to be hit. You have you have one massive, one baby falling wedge here. You broke out of that. All right, and it's a very nice candlestick going on there. You got a hammer candlestick going on there. All right, or a pin bar, whatever you want to refer to it. Bullish candlestick. All right, came back. You back tested where you broke out right here. Pretty sexy right there. What does that level happen to be, guys? Why do I want that to hold? That is your triple bottom or double bottom right here. I mean, it was a triple bottom, but that is your double bottom neckline right here. So if you hold that today, that would be, important to me. But you know what? Screw that. What do we also got going on the chart, guys? We have this going on right there. Let me just go a little like that. Let me go a little like that. All right. And if you were to do something like this, and then, you know what? Let's do it with a sexy arrow right there, right? You come up to the neckline, you pull back, you either pull back to here, you pull back to here. Here would be extremely ideal, all right? And then you come back up. Now, what pattern do we have there? Another bullish formation right there. You would have a massive inverse head and shoulders formation. Okay, there's also something else I saw as well. You're wondering how all these lines got on my chart. Well, it's because your boy was just literally doing exactly what I'm doing right here, right? And then what do we have? Well, you have this going on right here. Shoulder, head, come up here, all right? And then you're going to, you pull back here. So as long as you run back up to this, guess what you now also have? You have another inverse head and shoulders formation. Right here, right shoulder. Right here, head. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, all right? So now you know why all of those arrows are on my chart, guys. You have like 4 bullish structures going on here. I think it's very likely that buyers have been waiting for this thing to break out here. You finally got the breakout that the market was waiting on. I think this thing is going to run up to 94, and then very likely it's going to run up to 100 after that. But, if you're getting it over here, you got it down here, guess what? Comes up to 94, you're going to be up on your contracts. take some profits. You know why? Because you could get this scenario right here where you pull back all the way over here and you might get another shot. We got to run Disney back 4 freaking times. All right. Well, 3 times. And then the 4th time I got burned on it. Did I get burned? I think it sold for, I don't even know. I don't remember. It was yesterday. But I re-entered this for a swing because I do think we have heavy potential to come up here to 94 next week. So that is what I'll be watching. Honestly, top setup going into next week. All right. That is what I had to let you guys know of. All right. With that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.